Brawley, Steve Vasquez.
Present.
City of Calexico, Luis Fuentes. Absent. City of Calipatria, Raul Navarro.
Here.
City of El Centro, Sedelia Sanders.
Here.
City of Holtville, Colleen Ludwig. City of Imperial, Jeff Dale.
Here.
City of Westmorland, Larry Ritchie.
Here.
County of Imperial, Victor Carrillo.
Here. Public comment? This is the public comment section, the opportunity for any members of the public to address the council on any subject matter within the council's jurisdiction, but not an item on the agenda. Any action taking a result of public comment shall be limited to directions to staff. Individuals will be given 3 minutes to address the board. Anyone wishing to address the LTA board, please come forward. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. And I move to number 3, the approval of the following LTA minutes. February 27th, March 26th, April 26th, May 8th, May 28th, and June 2nd. Are there any corrections?
None.
So moved to approve. Second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Number 4, the discussion action regarding approval of the second reading of the ordinance entitled the renewal of the Imperial County Local Transportation Authority Retail Transaction and Use Tax Ordinance Expenditure Plan. At this point, when we left the last meeting, I think we had approved option 1.
Actually, it's the one that's called current ordinance in your pack. That's the one right on top.
Okay.
That's the way it was approved as a first reading at your last meeting. What we've given you are 2 options after that, which have slight changes in them as requested by some parties. So.
All right.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Before we get started, I'd like to have the pleasure of introducing our new city manager of the City of Brawley, Mr. Gary Burrows.
Welcome, Burrows. Thank you.
Thank you.
Unless I write this down after I get it, I apologize. I was told about it, and I said I'd make sure to say a note, and of course promptly forgot it.
Usually after you pass 40, that happens.
Easy, kid. 40. 40, I'd be happy.
Well, I
full circle.
I forgot the plus.
I'm over halfway around the second time. All right. At this point, I believe we were going to hear from the representative from CoLab, and then I think we'd bring it back to the board for discussion. Is there a representative? Bill, are you going to represent CoLab?
That is me.
Please come forward and address yourself.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the LTA board, my name is Bill Fleur, City of El Centro, member of CoLab.
Is the microphone on?
So
That one doesn't work.
try the other one, Bill.
Left one.
Otherwise, you sound like a midnight DJ.
Not sure if that's good or bad.
I don't know. It's been a long time since I heard.
Bill Fleur, City of El Centro, member of CoLab. At the last meeting of this board, I believe it was June 2nd, there was an adopted first reading, and on that evening, the members of the board asked that I come back and give comment as to CoLab's position on the changes that were done on that particular reading. There were a number of changes that evening, many of whom we agree with, and some of them were our suggestions, some of them were not. We can go through those if you like. Part of it dealt with section 2 on page 1, which dealt with the language surrounding whether it's a 2/3 majority or 55% majority and whatnot. That language was changed, and it's a language that we do have no problem with. On page 3, there was an addition at the last line of section 5 that's underlined in the redline version, which including the language which shall be at the end of the calendar quarter. We have no problem with that change. Page 4, section 12, there is some strikeout language dealing with, it's more structural in the sentence actually on how we create the LTS, and we have no problem with those changes. Page 5, the B, audit requirement section. And I'm going to read the first part of it, not to bore you, but just to help clarify. The LTSC shall supervise annual fiscal and periodic performance audits, which shall be performed in accordance with the changes generally accepted accounting standards, government accounting standards. My request on that evening, and it was pretty well concurred by some of the stakeholders here, that the wording annual fiscal and performance audit would include language which I think is more clear, which would include programs. I think everyone who has interpreted the last 19 years have said that performance audit, periodic performance audit would sort of entail program audits as well. I would ask, and I don't think this is a significant change or a material change to the document tonight, that the word program be inserted. I think it's a more clear definition and would help future readers of this document in the next 40 years. More significantly, in item number C on page 5, I'm sorry?
Mr. Chair, if we would allow a few minutes for each member to catch up, would you mind restating, Mr. Ford, exactly what page you're on and which option you're on?
I'm sorry. My apologies if I'm speeding along too quickly. Do you want me to just back up to the last point?
To the last point, I thought you were on page 5.
Page 5, item
under
B.
B,
audit requirement.
Option 1, am I correct?
Audit requirement B, the first sentence, adding program to after fiscal, annual fiscal program.
Yes, but
It's under current ordinance.
That's where we're at. Current ordinance.
Yeah, the option 1 will be additional changes.
Thank you. Are we? Thank you very much, Mr. Ford, and thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Chair.
So the insertion of, for clarity purposes, of the word program to the sentence including fiscal and periodic performance audits. So we want to clearly audit programs in this audit procedure. More importantly, the next paragraph down, paragraph C, the role of financial and performance audits. The key point in this sentence, and it's in the third line, deals with who has the authority to hire the auditor. It has been our request that the LTSC committee, which is appointed with the approval of this board, that they can autonomously go out and hire an auditor. The language here clearly states that the LTSC, with the active involvement of the authority's executive director, which I believe currently is Mr. Bill Bonet. Is that correct, Bill?
Yes.
Okay. And with the concurrence and the approval of the authority. And we have asked that the language, the concurrence and approval of the authority be struck out here. And the purpose, as I have explained before, and I think it actually protects this board's interest, is that this LTSC needs to be acting in an autonomous way from this board, and we think that gives it more arm's length discretion to review the fiscal and program and periodic performance audit without direct oversight. And so we continue to ask for that modification, which I would consider to be significant when we think about this being the potential second reading of the ordinance. There was also some other changes dealing with the fact that the audit firm can only handle 3 consecutive audits, and we're fine with that language. It was part of our suggestion. And that it also be in print on websites and whatnot, the continuation of that sentence. The paragraph, excuse me. More significantly now, if we go to page 6, item E, there is new language that talks about the fact that the committee needs to be on staggered 4-year terms. And this is item E. And in no case shall the voting committee member serve more than 2 years on the 2 terms on the LTSC. That language we are fine with. Other changes in the first reading.